My name is Miriam S. Stanko, and I am 31 years old. The night my boyfriend told me he would leave me immediately if his ex-girlfriend ever wanted him back, he was sitting beside me at his parents' dinner table, drinking wine I had brought, and wearing the watch I had purchased for his birthday. For 2 years, I was Adrian Cole's safe woman. I owned the 3-bedroom suburban house where he spent nearly every night. I paid for the vacations he described as necessary for his self-discovery. I listened when he complained that his corporate communications job was suffocating his creativity, made sure his car was serviced, and kept the refrigerator stocked with everything he liked. I was stable, reliable, and, according to Adrian, sweet. But I was not Serena. Serena Vale was the ex-girlfriend who haunted our relationship like a song Adrian refused to stop playing. According to his stories, she was destructive. She was a musician who rarely kept a job, borrowed money she never repaid, cheated repeatedly, and once smashed a guitar through his apartment wall during an argument. Yet whenever Adrian spoke about her, his eyes came alive. "She had this intensity," he once said while I cooked dinner. Life with Serena was dangerous, but at least it felt alive. And life with me? He hesitated. Peaceful. He said peaceful as though he meant lifeless. I tried to compensate. I booked expensive restaurants, bought concert tickets, and planned spontaneous weekends. Every thoughtful gesture earned the same patronizing smile. "You're such a good provider." Not lover, not partner, provider. Adrian never completely moved into my house. His clothes filled my closets, his products covered my bathroom, and he used my address for deliveries, but he maintained a small apartment across town. "I need an escape hatch," he explained. "It's a trauma response from Serena." Everything was Serena. If I arrived 5 minutes late, I was disrespectful like Serena. If I checked on him too often, I was smothering him because Serena had always given him space. I spent 2 years competing with a woman who was no longer present. Last Sunday, we attended dinner at his parents' home. Linda and Robert adored me. They knew how much damage Serena had caused and viewed me as the calm after their son's storm. We were eating roast chicken when Linda smiled across the table. "You two have been together for 2 years now. Adrian, you seem so much more grounded." Adrian stiffened. "Grounded?" Robert nodded. "Compared with everything Serena put you through, Miriam is the first mature woman you've dated." Adrian placed his wine glass down hard enough to rattle the silverware. "Can we stop talking about Serena like she was evil?" Linda frowned. "She stole from you and cheated on you. She was misunderstood. Serena had passion. She didn't care about retirement accounts, lawn maintenance, or boring suburban conversations." My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "Adrian," I said quietly, "they're complimenting us." He turned toward me with glassy, contemptuous eyes. "They're complimenting you because you're safe." Robert's face reddened. "That is enough." Adrian leaned closer, a smirk curling across his lips. "You're the woman a man chooses when he's tired of being hurt. But don't confuse safe with wanted." No one moved. Then he delivered the sentence that ended everything. "You know I would choose Serena if she ever asked. If she called tonight and said she wanted me back, I'd leave. You're wonderful, Miriam, but you'll never be her." He waited for me to calm him down. Instead, I placed my napkin beside my plate and stood. "Linda, dinner was delicious. Robert, thank you for always treating me kindly." "Miriam, please wait," Linda whispered. I buttoned my jacket. Adrian's smirk faltered. "Where are you going? We came together." I walked toward the door. "If you leave, don't expect me to be waiting when you come crawling back." I closed the door gently behind me. During the drive home, Adrian called repeatedly. I activated Do Not Disturb and continued driving. When I entered my house, the silence felt clean. I took heavy black bags upstairs and packed everything that belonged to him: clothes, shoes, toiletries, books, electronics, and framed photographs. I carried 8 bags and 2 boxes onto the porch. Then I opened the smart lock application. Adrian Cole, active user. I pressed delete. The lock reset with a quiet mechanical click. 40 minutes later, headlights swept across my living room wall. Adrian had returned, and he was still smirking, until he saw his entire life waiting outside the locked door. The front door handle rattled once. Then Adrian entered his code. The keypad beeped 4 times before flashing red. He tried again, faster this time, as though force could make an invalid code remember him. From inside the living room, I heard Linda's car idling in the driveway. Robert had driven Adrian home after dinner, and judging by the muffled argument outside, his father had already noticed the black bags stacked beside the porch. Adrian pounded on the door. "Miriam, open this door!" I sat on the sofa with a glass of bourbon in my hand and watched the wood tremble beneath his fists. "This isn't funny," he shouted. "I live here!" That was not true. Adrian had insisted on keeping his apartment because he needed an escape hatch. His name was not on my deed, utilities, insurance, or mortgage. He had spent most nights in my house, but whenever commitment became inconvenient, he reminded me that he still had somewhere else to go. Now he did. "You cannot lock me out!" he screamed. "My father is standing right here!" Robert's voice came from behind him. "Stop pounding. You caused this." Adrian went silent for half a second. Then the anger returned. "Miriam, open the door or I'm calling the police." I picked up my phone and sent him one message. "You said you would choose Serena. Go to her." The pounding stopped. Through the window, I saw him staring at his screen. The smirk he had worn at dinner was gone. Then he kicked the bottom of the door. "I hate you!" he shouted. "You're pathetic and insecure. Serena was twice the woman you'll ever be." "Enough!" Robert barked. "Pick up your things." "He can't do this to me." "She owns the house." "But I live here." "You kept your apartment because you didn't want to commit. Congratulations, you still have it." Adrian's voice cracked. "You're taking her side?" "I'm taking the side of the person you humiliated in front of us." There was a long silence. Then I heard bags scraping across the concrete and car doors slamming. When the headlights disappeared, the house became completely still. For the first time, Adrian's absence did not feel lonely. It felt clean. The following morning, my phone showed 38 missed calls and dozens of messages. The first ones were furious. "You overreacted. You embarrassed me in front of my parents. You threw me out over one drunken sentence." Around 3 in the morning, the tone changed. "Can we talk? I'm sorry. My apartment's heat isn't working. I miss you." Then mutual friends began contacting me. Jessica wrote that Adrian had been crying all night. Michael said I should give him a chance to explain. Another friend accused me of abusing my financial power. I answered none of them. At 10, Linda messaged, "Robert and I are deeply ashamed of what Adrian said. We love you and we understand whatever you decide. He is not welcome here until he takes responsibility." I replied only to her, "Thank you. I'm done." That weekend, I went to the gym, ordered the pizza Adrian always complained was too greasy, and watched an entire movie without someone scrolling loudly beside me. By Wednesday, Adrian realized pleading was not working. He posted an old photograph of himself with Serena. They were younger, dressed in black, smoking outside a music venue. The caption read, "Sometimes you return to the source to find your fire. No more boring." He wanted jealousy. What I felt was relief. 3 weeks later, Michael asked to meet for a drink. His expression told me the fantasy had already collapsed. "Adrian went back to Serena," he said. I assumed he would. He thought it would be some dramatic reunion. And? Serena lives in a basement apartment with 2 other women. She's unemployed and still trying to launch her music career. That sounded exactly like the woman Adrian had spent 2 years romanticizing. He stayed there for a week, Michael continued. On the second day, Serena borrowed $2,000 for studio equipment. Did he give it to her? Maxed out his credit card. I almost smiled. Without nostalgia softening the edges, Serena's passion was simply chaos. She mocked Adrian for becoming suburban, flirted openly with strangers, and treated his attempts at stability like weakness. The final disaster happened when Adrian confronted her about drinking. Serena laughed, called him controlling, and threw him out at 2 in the morning so another man could come over. He gave up his apartment, Michael added. He thought he was moving in with her permanently. Now he's sleeping on Jessica's sofa. I took a slow sip of my drink. He wants to talk to you. No. He says Serena was a mistake. She was the choice he announced at dinner. He knows you were the only woman who treated him well. I treated him with respect, and he used that respect as proof that I was boring. Michael looked down. So there's no chance? I'm not the prize Adrian collects after losing the woman he actually wanted. I placed cash beside my glass and stood. He chose Serena. The only difference is that this time, I believed him. 6 months passed after Adrian chose Serena and discovered that chaos looked far less romantic when he had to sleep inside it. I did not speak to him during that time. Mutual friends tried to keep me updated, as though his collapse were a television series I had once watched and might want to finish. Adrian moved from Jessica's sofa to Michael's guest room, then back to his parents' house after Robert finally agreed to let him stay under strict conditions. He had to pay rent, he had to keep his job, he was not allowed to contact Serena. The rules apparently felt unbearable to him. He's really struggling, Jessica told me over the phone. He barely sleeps. He keeps saying he ruined the only stable relationship he ever had. That is accurate. Don't you feel bad? I feel sorry that he is suffering. That does not mean I want him back. She went quiet. He says you were his best friend. I was also his cook, therapist, driver, financial support, and emotional safety net. He misses the services. That's harsh. No. Harsh was telling me in front of his parents that he would leave the moment another woman called. Jessica sighed. People say things when they're angry. He wasn't angry, he was smirking. That ended the conversation. I stopped answering calls from anyone who tried to convince me Adrian's regret was more important than my dignity. Without him, my life changed quickly. The house stayed clean. My savings stopped disappearing into spontaneous trips and expensive gifts designed to make Adrian feel alive. I slept through the night without waking to his complaints about being bored, trapped, or emotionally disconnected. At work, I accepted a demanding portfolio my manager had been trying to give me for months. Adrian had always complained that additional responsibility would make me even more obsessed with money. Within 3 months, I received a promotion. I returned to hobbies I had quietly abandoned. I joined a weekend running group, started cooking meals I actually enjoyed, and repainted the living room a deep green Adrian once dismissed as depressing. The house no longer looked like a showroom created to impress someone who wanted to escape it. It looked like mine. Then I met Gabriel Santos. He was a pediatrician at the children's hospital near my office. We first spoke at a charity fundraiser where I accidentally spilled sparkling water across the donation table. Gabriel helped me rescue several forms before the ink ran. Financial emergency? He asked. Occupational hazard. He smiled. Unlike Adrian, Gabriel did not seem threatened when I explained what I did for a living. He asked thoughtful questions and listened to the answers instead of waiting for an opportunity to criticize corporate life. We met for coffee the following week, then dinner, then a museum exhibit Gabriel claimed he understood until I caught him reading every description card twice. He was calm, but not dull. There was a difference. Calm meant I could breathe. It meant I could disagree without preparing for punishment. It meant plans were discussed, rather than used as leverage. It meant Gabriel arrived when he said he would, and never acted as though reliability made him less exciting. On our fourth date, he asked about my last relationship. I told him the truth. My boyfriend said he would choose his ex-girlfriend if she ever asked. Gabriel stared at me. At dinner? With his parents? And then? I packed his belongings and changed the locks. A slow smile appeared. That may be the healthiest response I have ever heard. I've been called cruel by the people who benefited when you tolerated cruelty. The words settled somewhere deep inside me. Gabriel never pressured me to move faster than I was ready for. He did not leave clothes at my house as a territorial claim or treat every quiet evening like evidence that passion was dying. When he stayed over, he helped make breakfast. When I worked late, he brought dinner and read beside me without demanding attention. I slowly realized how much energy I had spent convincing Adrian that peace was valuable. Gabriel already knew. One evening, while we sat on the back porch watching rain move across the yard, he took my hand. I want you to know I'm serious about this, he said. My body tensed automatically. He noticed. I'm not asking you to make a promise tonight. I'm telling you where I stand so you never have to guess. No games, no escape hatch, no ghost standing between us. I'm serious too, I said. For the first time in years, choosing someone did not feel like surrendering pieces of myself. It felt mutual. Adrian eventually heard about Gabriel. Michael told me Adrian saw a photograph of us together online. According to him, Adrian stared at it for a long time and said, "She replaced me." He was wrong. Gabriel had not replaced him. Adrian had created an empty space when he chose Serena. I had simply stopped reserving it for his return. 6 months after Adrian declared that he would choose Serena over me, I attended the wedding of a mutual friend. Skipping it was not an option. The bride had supported me during the breakup and had never pressured me to forgive Adrian. I knew there was a chance he would attend, but I refused to organize my life around avoiding him. Gabriel came with me, not as protection, as my partner. The reception was held inside an old hotel ballroom filled with candlelight, white flowers, and a live band playing softly near the dance floor. Gabriel looked handsome in a dark suit, and the ease between us felt almost unfamiliar in its simplicity. We laughed during cocktail hour. He listened while I told him stories about the bride, brought me a drink without being asked, and rested his hand lightly against my back as we moved through the crowd. Then I saw Adrian. He stood alone near the bar. He looked thinner, but not healthier. His suit hung loosely across his shoulders, and his hair looked as though he had run his hands through it repeatedly. He held an almost empty glass and watched us with an expression that shifted from disbelief to pain. His eyes settled on Gabriel's hand against my back. For a moment, Adrian looked like he might leave. Instead, he finished his drink and walked toward us. Miriam. His voice was rough. Adrian. Gabriel looked between us. This is Gabriel, I said. Gabriel, this is Adrian. Gabriel offered a polite nod. Nice to meet you. Adrian ignored him. Can we talk privately? I don't think that's necessary. Please, just 1 minute. His eyes were wet. Guests moved around us carrying drinks and laughing, unaware of the history gathering between the three of us. I need to apologize properly, Adrian continued. I know what I did was unforgivable. You already apologized through several friends. That isn't the same. He reached toward my arm. I stepped back before he could touch me. Adrian's hand dropped. Serena was a mistake, he whispered. Everything I thought I wanted was wrong. She used me, stole from me, and threw me away the moment someone else appeared. I'm sorry that happened. His expression brightened slightly, mistaking compassion for an opening. You were the only person who ever treated me with real love. You gave me stability. You listened. You built a home for us. I built a home. You treated it like somewhere to wait. His face tightened. I was confused. No, you were very clear. I was drunk that night. You spent 2 years comparing me to her while sober. Gabrielle remained beside me, silent and steady. Adrian glanced at him. Is this because of him? No. The answer seemed to surprise him. This is because of you. His mouth opened, but no words came. You treated me like a waiting room, I said. You stayed because I was comfortable, while hoping Serena would eventually invite you back into the chaos. I don't want her anymore. You wanted her when you believed she was available. You want me now because she rejected you. That's not true. You miss the house. You miss the meals, the money, and the woman who made your life easier. But you did not value me until you lost access to everything I provided. Tears slipped down his face. I miss my best friend. Best friends do not publicly tell each other they are second choices. Everyone makes mistakes. Yes, and some mistakes permanently change how someone sees you. He looked toward Gabriel again. You barely know him. I know he does not make me compete with a ghost. Gabriel took my hand. Adrian stared at our joined fingers. You really replaced me. No, you removed yourself. His face crumpled. Can we at least have coffee? Start slowly? I'll go to therapy. I'll prove I've changed. There is nothing to restart. Why? Because my life became better after you left. The words landed harder than anger would have. Adrian stood motionless, mascara from neither gender but tears streaking his exhausted face, finally understanding that regret did not create a right to return. I don't hate you, I said, but there is no vacancy for you anymore. He looked smaller then, like the man he had spent years pretending not to be. Take care of yourself, Adrian. I turned away. Miriam, he called, his voice breaking. I did not look back. Gabriel led me onto the dance floor as the lights dimmed and the band began another song. He placed one hand against my waist and looked directly into my eyes. You okay? Yes, and I was. For 2 years, Adrian made me question whether peace meant I was boring and whether stability made me less desirable. Gabriel held me like peace was the most valuable thing in the room. I had never been a consolation prize. I had only been offering permanence to someone addicted to temporary chaos. As we danced, Adrian became another figure in the crowd, then disappeared entirely. This time, I did not watch him leave.